Bruh. Now, I for one am not shocked at all, but I can tell you a couple of people who will be, and that's most likely the aunties. All the aunties of T-ARA are most likely on tilt right now, being that it was just announced not too long ago that T-ARA is the only K-pop group at this current time that can promote freely in China. They got that pass. Now, before I continue and explain exactly what is going on, how this decision even came about, and why it came about with T-ARA, I just want to have some general feedback from you guys. Let me know if you guys are enjoying this series called Bruh. And you know, it's all about the K-pop news and the Korean entertainment from around the world. And I figured that you know, having a series like this would be pretty fun, and I could give my general commentary about it. So if you guys are enjoying it, let me know. Give me a thumbs up. And with that said, let's get into the actual topic of today's video. Now, for a lot of the newer generation K-pop fans, a lot of them may not have really heard much about T-ARA, but there's one thing that always comes up whenever someone mentions T-ARA, and that is the infamous bullying scandal, which has been debunked so many times, you know, because there hasn't been any evidence. But the one thing that always stands out is that the netizens have been hating on T-ARA since that scandal happened, and that's really what took away T-ARA from the limelight. And you know, T-ARA pretty much hasn't been showing a lot of love in South Korea, so of course they took their talents to elsewhere and they started promoting more in China. And actually, T-ARA is the biggest girl group in China nowadays, especially with their promotions. You know, while T-AMO might have received a couple of million views in South Korea on YouTube, T-AMO actually reached over 100 million views in China within one day. Like, they are slaying over there pretty hard. Now, for a lot of people who haven't really followed, you know, the politics that goes on outside of the K-pop world, or some people might just get fed, you know, bits and pieces about it, let me update you on a couple of things that's going on in South Korea. One, the president of South Korea has been impeached, so that's pretty big. Number two, there's this thing called the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense, also known as THAAD, and it's basically all of the anti-ballistic missile units. It's all about the defense unit, pretty much between the US and South Korea. And all you need to know about this in terms of this video about THAAD is that China absolutely 1000% hates the fact that this is going on. They hate the operation that's going on with THAAD because they also feel that it might infringe, or it might, you know, just cause issues, you know, with North Korea as well. As you guys might not know, China and North Korea are allies, and of course the US and South Korea are allies, and just having any type of missile defense or anything like this just angers China completely. So because China is also angry that, you know, the THAAD operation is going on, they have begun to take away privileges for a lot of South Korean entertainment companies and a lot of South Korean entertainers, period. So basically, K-pop has been dwindling away from China. You know, there's not a lot of groups that can freely promote in China, you know, and all those privileges have been taken away slowly and surely. And right now, as of this article, the only group that is freely able to promote, the only K-pop group that can freely promote, is T-ARA. So what does promote mean? Well, for those of you that might not actually understand, we're talking about music shows, we're talking about variety shows, we're talking about concerts, and I have to harp on this. Concerts is one of the most important things for a lot of K-pop groups nowadays, especially when you want to talk about going through to do concerts internationally. So the reasons why I say concerts is, you know, and this is me talking as a promoter. You know, we recently talked about BTS in one of my videos, but I just want to break this down for you guys so you guys can understand the dilemma that a lot of these K-pop companies are going through. Let's take JYP for example. Let's say JYP was going to have an Asian tour and China was one of the targets for the countries to visit. Well, because of that, they no longer can promote in China. One, because JYP artist doesn't mainly have Chinese songs, and two, because they're trying to dwindle away the influence of K-pop and South Korean entertainment culture in China because of that. They don't like that, so they're gonna do everything to hinder South Korea and the relations with that. So now JYP doesn't have China to promote in. And you might be like, well, maybe JYP can promote in other countries? What about Thailand? Well, actually, right now, Thailand just had its king recently passed away. So from what a lot of things have been reported, there's this whole 1-year ban on Thailand. So there's gonna be no concerts from other countries, like i.e. K-pop stars promoting in Thailand for at least another year or so. Because of that type of ban. And now you gotta look at why a lot of groups are now coming to the US, because as you can see, the US is still the US market for K-pop is still growing. It's growing exponentially at that, and so that's why there's a lot of promoters that are, bringing K-pop groups over so they can promote in the US. Just think about it. GOT7 already had a full tour in 2016 during the month of July, and then they came back to do 2 fan meets, and actually it was 4 fan meets within 2 days in Canada, and now they're gonna be back again in January, early of 2017, and literally all those promotions were within North America. So, and the reason, guys, that I'm just bringing this up is so you can just think about the impact that is actually having on a lot of the South Korean companies, especially companies like JYP and SM and all of them. However, T-ARA, they're perfectly fine right now. T-ARA, it has been, they release Chinese albums. They are even signed to a Chinese company in China itself. So with all of that, pretty much hanging in the balance, T-ARA's, promotional activities was pretty much rest assured for them. And I mean, another group that might have activities, expanded in China might be EXID. However, I don't really want to say that EXID might be the next group that might get pardoned so they can promote in China, because, right now they haven't released any, Chinese albums or Chinese songs. Now, of course, T-ARA does have a couple of restrictions when it comes to this whole thing with that. They can only, promote with their Chinese songs on music shows and variety shows like that, but when they do concerts, they of course can use their Korean songs. And even with all of those limitations, T-ARA has pretty much made their China their home for promotions. I mean, while they might be hated by a lot of netizens who can't really grow the fuck up right now in South Korea, right now, China is treating them like the queens that they are. At the end of the day, T-ARA is living pretty well, and I know the antis out there, because I gotta say it a lot of times, because I always see it no matter what. When T-ARA makes a comeback, there's always the antis that are gonna be there, and they're like, oh my god, they're gonna flop, and then they're gonna flop in China. And as you can see right now, they're killing it right now. And this is just, with T-ARA and their relationship in China, it's only going to be strengthened through this. Of course, there's going to be a lot of envy for a lot of other companies that might say it's not fair and whatnot. But, T-ARA right now is literally killing it in China, and I expect it nonetheless from this. If you follow T-ARA for a while, like I have, you probably are not even surprised at this news. And now a lot of other fans might be surprised at this news because they don't really know a lot of the other politics and other political things that are going on outside of the K-pop world. But just let me know what your thoughts are on this, guys. Let me know what you think about T-ARA being the only group right now able to promote in China. Let me know what you think about the future is exactly for K-pop in China. As we know, SM has tried to have a lot of ties in China, of course, of former EXO members leaving. So it's looking bleak for the K-pop, I guess you say, industry in China. So I would like to know your thoughts about this, and just put them in the comment section down below. With that said, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. You already know what to do. Smash that like button, and I'll catch you guys for another video in the near future. With that said, I'm Michael Smith Grant, aka Truly Malice. Deuces.